Hey, beautiful humans. Thank you for joining me on another episode here on Creative Street. With me, I have Sam from Autism Rocks and Rolls, right? Yeah. So we're gonna be talking to him a little bit today about creativity and and just all things of life. How are you, Sam?
Hey, buddy, good to be here. Thanks for having me on. We met on International Podcast Day, and that was a fun event too. I think we got to meet some pretty cool people, and I think that we've had some connections. I think you know Sarah Bradford from
Mm-hmm.
SJ Childs and Maria Daniels from Successfully Chaos, which are two fascinating ladies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I met Maria in International Podcast Day, briefly. So yeah, definitely know a few of us. Um, I saw your segment on that day, and it was pretty cool how you were talking about like the different events that you've done and stuff like that. And yeah, it was pretty inspiring, like the stuff that like you were talking about.
Yeah, it's
So
definitely, I think it needs to be used if you want to further your mission. I mean, if you're going to further your mission, the best two ways that I believe that you can do it is speak on a stage or
mhm,
plan an event to either A,
mhm,
get on stage, or B, plan an event that makes sense so that you can spread your mission more.
makes sense.
Because unfortunately, the one thing that I don't like about podcasts, because I love podcasting, doing it for
Mhm.
4 years, so clearly sticking with it, but there's one little kicker. It's free.
Yeah, that's
People don't
true.
pay to listen to it.
That's
You
true.
need, if you want to build a podcast and a corporation around it, you got to get paid somehow.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true.
Or if
And
that's not the case, go find a job that does get paid, and this is your sideline.
right. And like and I think one of the cool ways that like you were mentioning was like you find like supporters and like you make events and stuff like that, and try to be part of other people's events as well, so you can, create that movement and stuff that you were trying to do.
You're
Uh
100% right on that. Case in point, I'm also a wrestling fan, like pro wrestling fan. Fun
mhm.
fact about me, but I do sometimes wrestling commentating to get involved, to obviously commentate because that's been a lifelong dream of mine. Set up a booth to
Mhm.
promote myself, but it's also get my name out there. Even though it's wrestling, they
True.
still
I
let us
mean,
go in the ring and promote. Hey, we're Autism Rocks and Rolls. Check us out.
mhm. Oh, so I've been meaning to ask, like, how did that get inspired? Like, how did you get inspired into doing podcasting and creating Autism Rocks and Rolls?
Okay, so that started after I joined my high school's media club, and I fell in love with it so much I started my own podcast, Autism Rocks and Rolls, and that's where I found it was in high school media club. But I saw, well, crap, I'm going to be graduating soon, so I better figure out a way to continue this if
Hmm.
I really want to do this, which I really do, but I can't be in media club forever. So I thought, okay, what can we do other than go to college? Because I still got some time before college. Oh, I know. I'll start my own podcast and get ahead of the game.
Love that. And did you know more or less how you wanted to, like when you started the podcast and stuff like that, did you have like a vision for it? Like, did you want to do solo episodes? Did you want to do like
Yeah, we
interviewing?
had an idea. I wanted to do like a variety because if it's the same structure, eventually I think it's going to get stale.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my opinion, we need to keep it different. I think you can have the same ideas of the format, but
Mm-hmm.
they need to be intervened a little bit. So, some are entertainment ones. Mine are, like it's an APE, it's an acronym because I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot in life with acronyms. So, A stands for autism behaviors, like the behaviors I've had. So, certain behaviors I
Mm-hmm.
have are some sensory issues. I have to self advocate for myself on a daily basis. I'm not the best with conversations,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not the best with communication. So, not voice with nonverbal when someone rolls their eyes, example.
Mm-hmm.
And then P, I've done a lot of interviews. I've interviewed 7 professional wrestlers to this day.
Oh, that's
I've had
cool.
Kane, Mankind slash Mick Foley, Buff Bagwell from WCW. And then the E, which stands for entertainment. So that means I've compared certain things that I like to autism or certain shows. Example of that would be I compared Scooby Doo to autism out of everything. A video game I played called Red Dead Redemption to autism.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've also compared, I'm not a fan of this, but I thought, well, I'm kind of running out of ideas, so let's try this, see if it just works. Airplanes to autism.
Airplanes. Interesting. So how do you compare that? Like the Scooby Doo, for example. I'm so curious. Like how did you compare the two?
You grab all the elements and then you combine them. So you get the gang, right? That's one part of them. So you get
Mm-hmm.
that, compare it. But then sometimes you also get the elements of Scooby Doo. What's one thing you could think? Let me ask you this: other than the characters, what's something in Scooby Doo that never goes wrong with that? Like when you think of Scooby Doo, clearly you think of the gang, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's some. What else do you think of, or what other item, or what other
Like this.
word comes to mind when you think of Scooby Doo?
Honestly, I think of like the Scooby snacks.
Well, no, you said it right there. The Scooby snacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we use that item. Let's compare a Scooby snack to autism. As crazy as it sounds, it can actually work if you listen very closely and think about it and do the digging.
Okay. Interesting. I think a fun one, if I could just suggest one, is Adventure Time. That one has so many like cool elements that maybe I don't know much about autism. You know, but definitely in terms of mental health, that show does do a lot of like what's it called? Like points. Like there's different characters that you can see like different mental health stuff
Right.
happening.
And I thought of that, but here's the deal. It can't just be the characters. So, case in point, I don't mind spoiling this one. I was considering for my next episode doing Looney Tunes. Well, here's the kicker.
Mhm.
You can only compare the characters to autism. I can't think of anything else to compare to autism other than the characters. So that
Mm,
has to be more to the characters. If I
mm.
could compare the locations and the characters and this and this and this, hey, let's work it in. But
Okay.
if it's not possible, it can't work. Because then it's
Okay.
just, we're going to hear characters again. Whoop de doo.
Okay, 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 I got you. Um, so it's cool. Like you've gotten really creative in how and like comparing autism with like all these different real world things. And I like that you're not specifically keeping it to a character because you're right. Like that's like a cop out, right? Like it's
It's like a
hard.
cop out. That's all. I mean, it's good. I think it's a good idea, but it's not for a podcast.
Hmm.
That could be good for a speaking engagement. I've had a friend and a guest who I've not spoken with, but at a conference with SJ Childs, believe it or not, compare
Hmm.
Disney characters to autism. That's
Oh.
good, I think, for in person, but for a podcast, no one's just going to sit there and listen to like, so this character represents autism, this character represents autism. Blech.
Mm. I got you. Okay, all right. Like, okay, so would you say that podcasting and doing the announcements is like your only realm of creativity, or like you've done other? Because I think you mentioned it when you first signed up, like autism and creative. There's so many things that we can do in terms of creativeness, especially in the podcast world and all of that. Are there other like elements that you do,
Well,
like
I
other
mean,
things?
the podcast is mainly me, but one other way with the creativity, I guess you can suppose, is I mean, I create I mean, I don't do it all by myself. I mean, I have help, but we create the presentations because they're each differently. That we follow the same format, but each one has their own twist because we want to also match the conference's mission. So if it's with technology, we'll make it a little bit more technology based. Or if it's a
Okay.
podcasting, we'll make it more podcasting based. And
Mhm.
then the events too. I mean, the events ideas we all came up with. We came up with a Jeep ride. That wasn't
Mhm.
my idea. That was another idea. We've done a gala, another member of my board's idea. A Summerfest, my idea, where it was an outdoor concert with some fun activities and a little bit of a scavenger hunt. And we had, who do we have play? Local Bloomington band, the All Access Band. And then this is an old timer, so you gotta, some people will know this, some people won't. If you haven't listened to him, I highly recommend him because he really does sound like Elvis. Duke Tomato.
Duke tomato. Okay.
And you guys, and the tomato spelled Tumatoe. It's not
Okay,
the OMATO.
that's cool. So you I like that. So I heard of the gala one when I was like listening to some of the, like, during your presentation. I think you mentioned the gala, which is pretty cool to hear. Um, but that sounds awesome. Like the Summerfest, like doing like scavenger hunts and stuff like that. Um, it's super engaging. What, like, what would
And
you
that's
say?
what I like about it. That's my idea of an event is a gala. Don't get me wrong, it's great, and we're gonna keep doing it. But in
Mhm,
my opinion, there's not much engagement involved.
mhm,
If I'm making an event, there needs to be some engagement involved. I don't
mhm.
want people just sitting in the audience listening or out. Blech. I'd
Right,
rather
like,
you get involved somehow.
you're right. I mean, like that, I feel like it gets boring. Just like you're saying, like, blah, it gets so boring. But definitely with the Summerfest, I can see how much more people are even willing to just go out there to just experience something, be out in the sun, and like do something fun, while at the same time, like, you're doing this event for like a cause and stuff like that, and seeing that support like that.
And I like doing the events, but it comes with the kicker. And
Mhm,
that kicker is that before I do these events, I literally have to mentally prep with music therapy because had I not do that, it is very discombobulated in the brain of mine,
mhm,
and it's just not a pleasant time
mhm,
because you're dealing with the public, and I do believe everyone should be different, but there comes a price with that. And the
mhm.
price is you don't know who you're talking to.
Mm, that's true. That's true. That's true. Um, like, what are some challenges that you faced, like, doing the podcast, doing the events, and just like speaking? Because it seems like it's something that's challenging for you.
Well, the challenge is that I think this is an everyday challenge, but we're a nonprofit. So
Mm-hmm.
it's keeping the revenue, it's spreading the word because profits, I think, have it a little easier because they are making money and they really don't have to spread the word as much. They still
Mm-hmm.
do, granted. I mean, profits take parts of nonprofits into their business, but when you're
Mm-hmm.
strictly a nonprofit, you got to do it extra. And
Mm-hmm.
at points, it can be very frustrating and aggravating and thinking, like, why am I doing this? But I feel like it needs to get done. I mean, when this, yesterday, when we were recording, because I figured it ain't going to air today, we had to fundraise and sell chili cheese dogs so I could fundraise for a speaking retreat coming up in Austin, Texas. Had I been a full profit, I don't think I would have done that. But because I'm not, here we are.
I see. Yeah, I mean, profit is a challenge. I think it's a challenge for even, like, especially for nonprofits. You're so right. Like, and it's hard. How do you find that motivation to like keep going at it?
Well, I keep it going because at the end of the day, it's what I want to do. I mean, there are days like probably yesterday, there were points of it when I was fundraising. I'd rather be with the college friends clearly because I'm in college and studying broadcasting and want to clearly see my buddies.
Mhm.
But the majority of the time, I was interacting with people. So that was a very helpful tool. And I came to the realization that it had to be done because
Makes
otherwise,
sense.
I'm not going to Austin, Texas for this really cool retreat. And I'm losing a private chef, which is one of the amenities that I get, believe it or not.
Okay. So, sorry.
Brain fart.
Yeah. That happens. I'm sorry. I'm still getting used to this whole thing. Um, it's hard, man, to sometimes find that motivation, even when, like, this is something like you want to do. Um, how how early on did you know that this is like something you want to keep pursuing, and what do you see for it in the future?
Well, the way that it kind of came about, because initially this was meant to be a hobby. It was never
Mhm.
meant to be like, okay, I'm going to go speak on stages. I'm going to plan events. No, it wasn't originally the goal. It was really meant to be, okay, what? I'm going to do a podcast here and there. It's going to be a hobby. Great. Let's do it. It's my thing. I'm in charge of it. I can actually feel like I'm in control of something. Awesome. Well, I didn't expect more people to listen to it and listen to it and listen to it and actually get sponsors for the podcast, because eventually I didn't ask people to sponsor me, but at the start of it, it came to me. So I didn't expect that here and there. And I didn't expect to get invited to speak on a stage in Oklahoma, because that was my very first speaking gig. And then I didn't expect my board to be like, hey, let's go do a gala. Okay. I didn't even expect to get a board, because I was hoping it would just be me.
Mhm.
But again, here we are today.
That's amazing. Like, and you did it porque te nació. And sorry, but like it came out of you, like, and that's really cool. And then to
Yeah.
have like
But
that
part of it came to
support.
me too. I mean, clearly I put in the work in,
Mm-hmm.
but at the start, it all came to me. The board came to
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those sponsors came to me. The Oklahoma came to me. So it didn't start with me. It started with them, which I'm very thankful for. But then the rest, right, I kind of started it. We started marketing more. We started asking
Mm-hmm.
more to get on stage. We started planning more events.
Well,
So you're right to a point.
what I mean though is that they heard you. You started this out of fun. You did this because you wanted us to start talking about this or whatever. Sorry, no, like no, whatever, but like you started it because it wasn't something that you were like searching for. You get me? Like you didn't go out there looking for the board. You weren't out there looking for these things. Like you just started it because you enjoyed and you wanted to do this. And then they started coming to you because they saw that passion in you, which is like that's impressive. That's amazing.
It is very impressive, but I mean, I'm thankful for it. I really am. But you do make a point. I mean, at the same time, I mean, I did start the podcast, which
Mm-hmm.
is, in a way, is your big circle. But then it's led me to all
Mm-hmm.
this. And I've not been passionate about it. You're probably right. I want to get those incentives, to say the least.
Yeah. And like the fact that like it's like you mentioned, like you didn't expect people to start listening to you. You wanted to start the podcast. You just wanted to talk about this, and then you realized that like people were interested in that. They were interested in what you had to say and in that movement, and like they, it's. I guess what I'm trying to get at is that it's amazing what human support and just going after what you envisioned like can lead you to. Um where do you see it going? Like where what do
I always
you
joke
hope
around
for
about
it?
that. I get that asked all the time, but people always ask me that. And I joke and I say, ask me if I use them, we'll talk, because the way I'm seeing this now is I take it one day at a time, because it's the whole time it's been unexpected. It was unexpected when I got the speaking gig, as I mentioned earlier. It was unexpected when I got to get invited to go to Podfest in Orlando. It was very unexpected that I would get asked or even get involved with international podcast thing. So it's
That's cool.
very, very unexpected. So because of that, now it's one day at a time. Now,
It's
clearly the goal for it is to maybe make it a job to where the nonprofit can stick, and I have something that is building ready. Because let's look at some nonprofits. Goodwill,
mhm.
how much money do you think they're making?
Probably a lot.
And they're a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So you want to get it, I guess the vision that you have for it is to get it to a point where you can continue doing this work and still be able to pay your bills and and make it larger and make it more sustainable. Um
While changing the view of autism at the same time,
Correct.
because
Yeah.
there's still a ridiculous stigmatization that we can't do anything, which is
Mhm.
clearly wrong, because what am
Yeah.
I doing?
Exactly. That's cool. So may I ask, like, how young were you diagnosed?
4 years old.
4 years old.
4 years old, dealt with it since I was four. I at a younger age, so according to my parents, classic symptoms. The one I remember the most was it's kind of coincidental because now I love loud noises because you can imagine me, I'm the idiot with rock and roll music, headphones blasting. But back when I was two, I hated fireworks and I would hide in the
Okay.
basement because I knew the loud noise was coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't even fathom that. Like that must have been challenging growing up.
Yeah, a lot of ups and downs. I mean, we've all had it. The child was mainly downs, but there were some ups. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, after I probably hit 15 years old was probably when the circle shifted into a bigger circle or happier circle because that's when I started making friends, started getting a little more confidence. That's when
Mm-hmm.
I found Media Club. I think I've had a little bit of a community behind me, but it wasn't as big as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably what prevented me from not doing anything harmful to myself was family.
That's good. It's I mean, I'm happy you not everybody has a blessing to be able to have like a family support system there for them. Especially during challenging times.
Yeah.
And during just overall challenges in life. So that's
But if you're
awesome.
not, here's the kicker. This is what I do like.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have the bloodline that you wanted because of just family being different from you, because
Mm-hmm.
you want to do right, they want to do wrong, or whatever the case might be,
Mm-hmm.
you can find your own bloodline. That's something I really do like. I mean, I bet there are people out there right now who think their 15-year-old or a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old is like their mother and father because they don't have it at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's you can make your own tribe. It's you don't have to be part of that family that you were given. You can make your own. You can find your people and find that
Can you
support
help the
system.
cards you were dealt with though?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not. But
Mm-hmm.
can you play them correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I love that.
Because
Yes.
guess what you can do with one card that was very bad? You can either put it back in the stack or, oh, it's bad, throw it away.
Mm-hmm. Or you can use that maybe, or you can find the light in it, or find the advantage in it. The like pressure makes diamonds. I'm a big believer of that. Like sometimes you're not given the right set of hand, but you can find uh, an impactful way, like something good out of it that you can use towards having that under your belt or something,
Can I
some
help the
sort of
fact that I had
skill.
autism? That's an example right there. No. But what
No.
can I do with it? Can
Mm-hmm.
I throw the diagnosis away? Sure, then do nothing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Or can I still keep the card, but and play it at 16 years old, making a podcast?
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
And
I can do
impacting
that.
people's life. Like I bet like I don't know, but I bet that there are people out there that have listened to your podcast that like they that you've probably impacted them in ways that you can't even fathom, like just overall in their life and how they view things and how they approach life. Like I'm sure of it.
You're probably right. I've heard it a couple times, but I didn't care that was probably the biggest goal there too. One person, and it still is, even though I have this gala going, even though I'm going on stage, the goal remains the same. One person in life has shifted. I'm good to go.
Mm-hmm.
I can call it a day.
Mm-hmm. It's the little acts of kindness that we can do. I think with our time here is the important part. Dude, how are you speaking in front of like audience? I have such stage fright. This doing this podcast is a challenge for me because
Oh boy.
I'm shy. So I
I
can't
know.
even imagine
I
like
figured that, darling. I kind of figured that when we were doing International Podcast Day. But to answer your question, once you learn not to care or think of you, and it is including family, like I probably got in trouble for it before, It's definitely come with a price, let's put it that way. That being said, though, not caring what anyone's thought of me, and I mean anyone, as is what led me to speak on stage. So you want to, boo me? Boo me. It's not going to affect me. As a matter of fact, I might even embrace the boos.
That's so cool. Oh man, that's so cool. Like you're saying that, and I'm just like, oh man, I can't even imagine.
Because it's truth be told, I'd probably be in professional wrestling a better villain than a babyface because I have the ability to embrace the boos.
Was that something that you've always been able to do, or it's something
No, oh
that
God,
you
no.
grew
And I
into?
was a people pleaser, but when I did, it led me to some, now not say best times, but when I tried to, it was so much stress, and I thought, finally, at 16, wait a minute, why am I pleasing everyone else? Because where is it getting to me right now? It's getting me nowhere. You know what? I'm going to try to take that stupid stress. I'm going to try to look at me and me only. Was it being probably arrogant and a little bit mean? Yeah, but I had to do it for me. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't make it.
That's I'm sorry. That touches me because I am a people pleaser, and it's something that I've been working on um a lot, and I'm still finding that challenge of being okay with being mean as long as it's because
Yeah.
it's what's gonna make me happy.
And even though, while I don't care at the end of the day, I still like to make people happy. I mean, I do, because if you don't like me because of something I said or I unintentionally offended you, I want to make it right. It's not like, oh, I made you mad, go to hell. No, it's not like that. It's more of, okay, I made you mad. Let's try to work this out. And if not, that's your problem. I'm going on.
I see. I gotta take care of myself. I gotta get stronger at that. So there is what's one of the lessons you would say that podcasting and like doing all of these events and being this nonprofit, like what are some lessons that you can like share with not just me but like the audience and what you've learned, you've gained from this experience?
All right. Your answer is, I think we all have our own takes from it, but mine is really, it's what I'm going to adapt from her because she believes this one, and I do too, to a point. It's be you, be you, be you. So be you regardless means that there's something in your life that's valuable or a personality trait that's valuable. Maybe that shyness is valuable. That maybe that flaw is actually a gift.
Okay. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Oof.
And you see, currently, right now, because of the autism, because I have ADHD too, I rock. Maybe that rocking has something valuable.
Is it like do you sometimes do like the rocking because like of just like right now I was doing the shaking my like I was shaking my leg,
Well,
but
I
that's
rock
because
because of
I'm
ADHD and I
nervous.
can't sit still for the life of me. I don't know how people do it. It feels like I'm sitting
Okay.
on the hardest rock alive. That's why I mainly do it. But there are points where if I don't have my medication, I will do it because of my medication not operating or not having it in me. If I don't, then it's the rocking when I got an issue.
Gotcha.
But if I have that medication in me, it manages it. And that's something else I believe in too. While I don't believe in curing something, autism needs to be cured, bogus. I do believe in managing. So if aggression is a problem, that needs to be managed. Does it need to be cured? No. Does it need to be managed though? Yes, 100%. And there's a difference between curing and managing and improving too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
curing means just going away.
Mm-hmm.
Managing means you're putting a flat surface on it and it's just being tolerated. Improving means it's intolerable, but you're still working on it, but you still might slip.
Okay. Yeah, when you say curing, like especially they're like when you say curing, I think of it like it even sounds like kind of like a disease, like a cold or something that it goes away. But autism and other mental health stuff and even anger issues, like that's not something you can cure. That's not something that goes away. But it's like you're saying, like you can manage it. You can do things to help, I guess, mitigate. Yeah, mitigate it. You know, so it doesn't go like haywire. I
I
guess.
think I think the switch can be there, but don't turn it on. If that makes any sense.
Hmm. Okay. Ooh. Um, is there anyone else like in your family that is like autistic as well, or is it
No,
just yourself?
just me. And it's very funny too. I always wonder where it came from, but it could be genetics,
Mm-hmm.
heritage. I'm guessing somewhere down the line in my family that is probably back when World War II was happening,
Mm-hmm.
or back in the time of the Industrial Revolution, or some point in history,
Mm-hmm.
someone in my family had autism. It just wasn't noticed,
Yeah.
or an ancestor, if I had to guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's only recently where everybody's like more in tune with, mental health stuff, especially like autism and ADHD, and they've been more noticing that. Um, so yeah, yeah, you're probably right. um,
And
do
as
you
some are
do?
obvious, I know I've had a parent on one time. What I did not know is her husband was on the autism spectrum,
Mhm,
and they've had 3 children. I
mhm,
think. Let me count. Hold on, maybe four. Four. I'm sorry, four.
mhm,
There, one of them got the diagnosis, but it clearly came from the father having it.
mhm. That wow, 1 in 4. So yeah.
Plus, it's more prevalent. We're talking about stats, I guess. It's more prevalent because more people get diagnosed with it all the time. Even through this podcast journey. For the
Mhm.
first time was 1 in 44. Now it's 1 in 36. Now I think it's 1 in 33.
Oh wow.
So more people are getting diagnosed with it, and it's getting more prevalent. And we couldn't believe when I was selling that food, and
Mhm.
there was at least probably half or the majority of the population said, "Oh yeah, I know this person is on spectrum. Oh yeah, my nephew is. Oh yeah, my grandson is. Oh yeah, my son is actually. Oh yeah, this."
Oh wow. That's amazing. Interesting. Um, I wonder if it's because the testing has improved or like I don't know. That's so cool. Like in the
Yes,
sense
it's a
that
mysterious question, but I
yeah.
can't give you the answer. This is a
Right.
Scooby Doo case that won't get solved.
Right. um okay. Uh do you do other things creatively like
Yeah, well,
besides
I'd
like
like
the
to write.
podcast?
I have a blog, so definitely creative writer. However, unfortunately, due to lots of other things going on, it's kind of like at the bottom of the list
Mm-hmm.
of the priority. But here and there, I definitely will put something on there.
Okay. Um, have you ever done like any like short stories or stuff like that?
Short stories. I mean, I've considered it. It's mainly through that blog is my writing. So the blog can be a story. It can be about the certain behavior that I did on a podcast, but it's on paper. It could
Mm-hmm.
be a short story. It could be just thoughts. It all comes from here, really. Just here on a sheet of paper.
Okay. All right. Sorry if it like if I'm weird. I'm like I said, I'm getting used to this, and I appreciate you taking time and just being so cool with just winging this with me. um ooh, can you do you have like a memorable like uh like a memorable event that you've done? You've only been doing this for 4 years, but like
Right.
out of the
And
four
we're still in the
years,
process of figuring out which ones work and
mm-hmm,
which ones don't work. And everyone has their own favorite. I think my mother's favorite is the gala.
the guy.
Yeah. I think my dad, oh, there's another one we created. So my dad ain't really not as a board member. He's definitely more involved because he's a family.
Mm-hmm.
He suggested a motorcycle ride, his idea.
Oh,
And
that
I
does
thought,
sound
you
like
know what? I
fun.
actually dug it. So we went with the motorcycle ride, his idea. Probably if I had to guess, his favorite. That's just a guess. I'm not for certain. Mine is the Summer Fest with the
Mm-hmm.
live music. Because then again, I like music and I got to hire someone who I watch. And I thought, okay, you're really cool. I like you so much. I'm going to put you to work with me or for me.
Yeah. And I think that's really cool about podcasting is like and doing the non for profit is like
Plus,
being able to
Summerfest is
meet all those
outdoors, and
cool.
I'm a country boy, so you can imagine the outdoors is probably a bit of a home to me.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. The Summerfest, I've never been to Indiana, right? Yeah. I've never been to Indiana, so like how is it like more nature-esque? Because down here in Miami, it's mostly buildings. It's very hard to see like green nature and stuff like
Right.
that.
Yours is it's tropical, but it's the city of a tropical place. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Well, it's not like tropical. Yeah, there's no palm trees here. I'll tell you that much. But there's definitely, if it's summertime, it is very, very beautiful. I mean, the sun's shining. I mean, you can see the grass glowing a little bit. You can even hear people playing clearly. Summertime, everyone's happier. No one's in a rush, but it comes with a price. And that price is wintertime. It is nasty, like nasty cold.
Oof.
You gotta bundle. Sometimes you gotta bundle up in your jackets, and sometimes it can't make up its mind. So when it's springtime, one day you might be wearing a sweatshirt,
Mm-hmm.
but the next day you can just dress up like it's summertime.
Oh Lord. Oh my gosh. That sounds like too much. Oh, I don't know. Yeah. All right. So Sam, I'm gonna wrap it up if that's okay with you. Um, I appreciate you taking the time to be on the episode and coming on and speaking with me. Um, any last words for our listeners?
Nothing I can think of, but I always say this. I always say this a lot. If the world could be nice and not be stupid, I think we get along so much better. Don't you agree?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
I
and the second one's
really
even hard for
do.
me sometimes because I definitely like to goof off a little bit. I mean, I'm not the guy who's like walking with a straight face all the time. I definitely like to goof off. So the second part's hard for me, so I get it. But don't be seriously stupid. But I'm definitely make sure to be nice at the same time.
I love that. Yes. I think showing a little bit of kindness to just everybody, a little bit at least, can definitely make the world a better place. Thank you for that.
It really can. It really can.
All right. Well, everybody, I hope you had a great time listening to us, to our conversation. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in to Sam's Autism Rocks and Rolls. I'm gonna leave his info in the show notes, so check it out and stay creative.